can conjure. How y'all doing out there in the world? Yeah. So thanks everybody for subscribing, sharing, liking, all that good stuff. I appreciate it, as you know. Um, yeah. Anyway, today's episode is Black Women Rising. And we want our black men to know too that we still love and appreciate and want y'all. So um, don't feel like you're not wanted. But this video is primarily about black women rising. Y'all saw the news, right? Kamala has been named vice president. Well, vice presidential candidate. I'm already ahead, right? She's been named Biden's vice presidential candidate. And so she's part of the ticket now. And, frankly, I called this a long time ago. I called it when she left her campaign, when she finished her campaign. And the reason that I saw it then, it's the download that I received. And the reason that it was so clear to me then was because of the exchange they had on that debate stage. She didn't really give. She was like giving it back to him, right? She was calling him on his stuff. And people, the commentators were like, oh, she's this, she's that. And I said, if Biden is smart, he'll pick that woman. He'll pick her because she's smart, she's tough, and she is not going to kiss anybody's butt. And so I call it then. Anyway, this video is not about, that politics exactly. It is about a phenomenon that we see happening in our society now, and it's been about the rising of the feminine energy. And we've seen it, we've been feeling it for a while now in various kinds of, wrappings or whatever. Women speaking out on a lot of different types of abuse that have been going on, the Me Too movement, all these kinds of things, because it's just time for that to be over. The old world system is over, y'all. I hope you really, really can get that. Just on a spiritual, mystical level, we have already shifted into the fourth density. The earth has already shifted into the fourth density. What we're seeing now is the death throes of the third density. And I can give y'all a teaching on what that really means. But suffice it to say that you've heard of the shift, the awakening. More people are awakening, more people are becoming woke. Not so much like politically and socially and culturally, but spiritually. And what that means is that the things that are associated with the third density, the old world order, is over. So anybody who's thinking, I'll be glad when we go back to how things were, I'll be glad when we go back to normal, that's over. Please hear me when I say your spiritual teaching from this video is the old is over. Already done, kaput. Okay, so we're moving forward, and what we've been seeing is the rise of the divine feminine. Right, we've been seeing black women in particular reclaim our African deities, Isis, also known as by her true name as Aset, right? Oshun, Yemeya, Oya. We've been we if you know Vodun, Urzuli, we have been experiencing the return of the divine feminine. And so it is no surprise that Biden would say, I have to have a woman on my ticket. I have to have a black woman. Well, first he said a woman of color on my ticket. I have to, because he realizes, everybody realizes that this is the rise of the divine feminine energy. And what that means is that the divine feminine energy is receptive, more accommodating. It is about community building. It is about wellness and wholeness and holistic wellness. That's why I say to the men, we still want you and need you and appreciate you. This isn't about male bashing. This isn't about throwing men out. No. Real feminine energy says we have to build holistic communities, and we need the balance of masculine energy too. But what's been going on in our society, in our world for so long, for centuries, is an imbalance where the male energy dominated and the feminine energy was sublimated, was oppressed. And now what we see is the rise of the feminine. Now we could get to a point where the feminine will be oppressive, right? The masculine will be here and will be out of balance. What we're seeking to do is get a balance between masculine and feminine. We haven't gotten to that yet. So we'll see as things progress. And I think because we are moving into the fourth density that we are going to get to that balance point. But anyway, third and fourth density kind of teaching is for another video. And if some of y'all are already with me, if you already have that third eye kind of awareness about the different densities and where we're going as humans. I mean, we are spiritual beings having human experiences, but it's time for more of our chakras to be activated and our pineal gland to be activated. Everything is here in the now and possible potential, but what's activated is not yet, right? So there's a difference between what's potential and what's activated. Anyway, my point is that it's time for the rising of the divine feminine. So black women are rising. And, you know, one thing that we can see with Kamala Harris being named is that there is a certain misogyny, patriarchy that's going to resist this at all cost. We already saw it from this president, you know, label her as a nasty woman, called Hillary Clinton a nasty woman and all this, right? But the thing about black women is we have already been called all the names. We have already been treated like the mule of the world. We have already been underneath everybody. So whatever you have to say, we have heard it. So it's no shock value. It's not going to distract us. We're still moving forward. Well, you might know, I'm a college professor, and so I'm aware of the statistic that the most highly educated segment of our society are black women. And so our time has come. Our time is now, I should say. Our time is now. And it's nothing to be afraid of if you're a man, right? It's nothing to be afraid of. It's to be celebrated because what we're saying to our black men is, well, we want you to. We want you to be with us. But there's no oppressive forces happening now. Why do we need to oppress one another? Why does somebody need to be submissive? We don't need that energy, right? I like to pull aside my young male students, especially black male students, remind them how much they're needed. Don't be slacking off. You're not going to get no C or D or F in my intro to African American Studies class, in my African American Religions class. No, that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And I intentionally pull them aside because they need somebody to speak into them and let them know they're needed. So please know, men, you're needed and appreciate it. We want you here with us. So don't be, like, oh, black women, da 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 da. Please let that go. Already people are coming at Kamala like she's not black enough. Please let that go. All of us in the Americas are racially mixed. Whether we want to acknowledge it, whether we can point to, this white ancestor or that Asian ancestors, whether we can point to it or not, y'all know we are. Because the slave trade made that so. Being powerless in the Americas where black women were raped. We know that. How many people among you have really light-skinned people in your family? You got white people in your family. I know I got really light-skinned people in my family. How did that happen? So we're all racially mixed. And the United States is not the only place that has slavery, right? So people are like, oh, Jamaica, as if Jamaican is not black. Kamala Harris is racial mix being Indian and Jamaican. And so somehow or another, that's not black enough. Let's please grow. Let's please grow. Who counts blood quantum? You know who counts blood quantum and decides who's black enough or who's white enough or who's Indian enough? White supremacists. That's who count blood. That's not an African way to look at people and say, oh, you're not enough, right? So I also teach Native American liberation theologies. And one of the things that Native Americans are still dealing with is this idea of blood quantum. The United States government literally counts their percentage of Native blood in order for them to be considered among the um, approved tribes so that they can receive benefits, health care, scholarships, whatnot. Because, some people feel like Native Americans, oh, they have all the casino money, they're all rich. That's not true, right? If you know anything about what's going on in the Native American reservations, those are some of the most impoverished places. And so, again, my point is, who counts blood quantum like that? America's race card is the one drop rule. We didn't invent this game, right? White supremacist Americans have decided that it's necessary to count, if you can count, right? Black blood and white blood, or Indian blood, or Asian blood, or whatever. They've decided that you can count blood and that you can decide, you can categorize people as black or white because they wanted to keep their race so-called pure. They want to keep their race pure, but they're over here raping women in slavery. Right? So it's all kind of hypocritical. It's all kind of, suppressed, sexual urges and fetishization of the other and all of that kind of stuff combined together. But in America, we're all cousins. White, black, Latino, Asian, whatever it is, we're cousins because of nothing else. I mean, if nothing else in the slave trade, we're cousins here. Slavery was the family business, right? Slavery was the family business, and we're all in it. So let's not come at Kamala like, oh, she's not black enough. Now we could come at her with some other things and say, what is your policy, your policies, and what's your record? I'm willing to have those kind of conversations because those things are valid, but not on racial identity because so many of us are mixed. Clearly, I mean, like I said, you got people who are light skinned in the family, got some people with some light eyes, got people with the wavy hair. That's why we have this whole thing about, good hair and, light skin and dark skin and whatever, because we're all racially mixed. So let's not sabotage ourselves in this election, right? Because we're tripping on some foolishness. And you know how I feel, not on my watch, no foolishness on my watch. Anyway, so yes, I'm just looking here because there's a couple points I wanted to make. I did want our men to absolutely know, do not feel threatened, do not feel pushed aside because divine feminine energy wants the divine masculine energy. We need to balance this thing, right? Because if we're out of balance either way, it's not good. It's not good. We're supposed to have both of the energies together, right? And we're supposed to learn how to get along together and do this holistically. And ideally, that's where the feminine energy is leading us, and not into this, misogynist finger pointing at black women. There's been a lot of real bashing of black women in the media lately, to the point where I saw something in the media, social media, about what kind of black women do y'all like? Right? Like, you don't like Oprah, you don't like Gail, you don't like corporate women, you don't like educated women, you don't like bougie black women, you don't like ghetto black women, hood rats, right? You don't like black women who like sex, you don't like black women who don't like sex, you don't like Cardi B, you don't like Megan Thee Stallion. Who do you like? You don't like Harriet Tubman. Remember right? Kanye talking about Harriet Tubman didn't free people, didn't free slaves. Why are you coming for Harriet Tubman? Right? So what kind of black women do you actually love? Right? And the post was saying that, I see y'all don't love black women at all. You just want to throw us under the bus. I won't say that. I won't go that far because I know plenty of black men who have love for black women. And do me a favor, put it in the comments that you love black women and can appreciate black women. And none of this all women. Yeah, all women. But right now it's a critical moment for black women. So I wanted to come on with that. My next program that I'm working on, I've got several courses coming up. Courses, master classes that I'm working on. But the next major one that I'm working on is about Black women and spirituality. So also put in the comment section if you're interested in that. That's going to be a real juicy piece right there. Black women and spirituality, because you know what, we have become multi-spiritual. We have moved into an era where so many people have given up belonging to just one religion or one spirituality, one doctrine. That's over too, right? Remember at the beginning I said things are over. And so what's happening is that people have such a need and a desire for spiritual food that we're looking at multiple spaces and we're feeling more comfortable looking in multiple spiritual spaces, right? And again, Black women are leading with that because, you know, Black women stay up in the Christian church, but a lot of those Black Christian women are also talking to me about African spiritualities. They're hungry. They want to know what else there is, right? They're talking to my colleagues. They want to know what else there is. They're asking me already, Dr. Darnise, what do you have for us? What kind of program do you have for us? Because we want to study with you. And so I got to create it because y'all want to study with me and I want to study with you because we're going somewhere, right? We're going somewhere. Anyway, let's see. Anything else on my little list here? I guess I'll just say it's our time to shine. Black men, I hope y'all gonna come with us. Don't make us come for you, right? Because you know we will. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. Please share. Join me on Patreon. I continue to put things up on Patreon. That's exclusive content or content that goes to other places. And so I appreciate having you there with me as well. Let me again know about the upcoming classes or your interest in classes that you would like. Yeah, so that's it for now. Bye-bye.